Greetings, Patrick here, 8 Questions with, and welcome to the Wednesday night show. Um, Another cold, chilly Michigan night, but we are back here ready for action. We will be talking with singer and songwriter Jenna Clark. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, this will probably be a shorter than normal interview. Um, so we'll probably just get Jenna only for about an hour or so, and then we'll have to let her go and reschedule her. Appreciating the fact that she was able to make time for us, and looking forward to talking with her. She'll be here in about 15 minutes or so. I don't know if we'll have time for songs. We'll see how she feels about that. If she wants to do one song or two, but mostly we just want to get a chance to talk to her during our time with her. All right. Well, I had a blast last night. Those who came in last night, and there was quite a few of you here last night. It's been a while since I've seen numbers like that. I appreciate the fact that you guys came over and supported the interview we had with Carrie the Nine from Los Angeles. That was a lot of fun too. It's a bunch of older punk rockers sitting around a campfire talking music. I mean, you don't get to see that very often, you know. I remember when I'm back in my days, I would actually see some older punkers, and I would just be like, wow, they've been on the road for a long time, and they just love the music. They love making music, and that's really what it was all about for them. Just to have a go out there, have a good time, maybe make a couple of dollars doing it. Record a record or two, and do some touring. Um, so it was fun talking to Carrie the Nine. I'm glad to hear that they're going to be recording next year. That's cool. I mean, you want to leave a musical legacy, and I think one of the best ways to do it is actually record and leave it behind, like in a CD format, or even if, now I guess the young kids are putting out cassettes again, and that's fun. Cassettes are fun, but 45s are still being made. Sometimes one of the coolest things a band could do in the musical scene would save a lot of money, but got them a lot of notoriety was they would do split singles, which means, they get it together with a friend and they cut a record and then a single, then the other guys would cut the single, then they put it together and each person would have like 500 copies and they sell it. Everybody made money and it's able to afford to record. Because I'm sure recording today, even though in theory, it's probably a lot easier to record today than it was back in the 80s and 90s, right? Technology. But it does seem like that even despite the technology advances, the cost always seem to go up as well, which I, you know, I guess some respects, yeah, I get that. Um, but sometimes I don't, because it's like if you were charging somebody $200 per hour last year and you got tech this year, um, I can understand you holding your line with that, holding the line for that, but I couldn't see why doubling your price because you got new equipment. I know it has to cost somebody, you have to pay for it, but to me, it's like, well, that's when you maybe instead of charging $300 for it, you charge 210 for it and you get more bands for the buck. Or you cut or you lower your price. 'Cause I knew a lot of studio recording houses that were struggling for clients. They couldn't afford the $200 last year. But what if you got that new equipment and you sit around and says, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna lower my price down to 150." Now the people that couldn't afford me before, now they can come in and not only get me, but get me with my new tech. But that's crazy talk, right? All right. Jenna hails from Florida. She has she started her career in Florida. She got her start there. She is country, and wouldn't you know it, Steven's not here. Um, Steven Sheets. She is a country singer, country western singer. Steven, if you catch the replay. Um, and she has also played in Texas. She played in Texas for about 10 years. And then she came back and is making music, both as a soloist and part of her band. Her band, she has a band that she plays with, and that is the Salty Truth, which we talked about. We'll be talking about that. I think that's cool. I think that's cool. You know, I think that shows the diversity, which I think every artist wants to do. I've known some singers that will, they play with a band, but they feel a little bit different when they play solo. A lot of times, it's easier for an artist to get shows solo too. Um, most of the live bands, they play at venues, and they have to bring all the equipment in and they have to lug it in and lug it out. It's part about being a band. But sometimes when you're a soloist, you can just grab your case, walk over to the shop, coffee shop or a songwriter circle or cafe or whatnot, unplug, plug in, and go. So it's benefits for both. Benefits for both. All right. I am still deciding whether to go on my vacation on January or February. I think I mentioned it to February, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking I'm going to be taking January off. I think this is going to happen. I'm going to take January off. I only had one person I was talking to doing a show with, and I might just go ahead and give her, and depending on me talking with her on Sunday, I might just push this all the way back to February, which I hope she understands. Hey, there's John. I caught you last night, John, on your little 12-minute video, talking about giving shout outs to everybody. Um, yeah, man. Now this must be your quiet time, right? This is where you just rest up and get ready for springtime. And I think I need that too. I'm gonna probably have to just put out a video out here just saying how I'm gonna be taking January off, um, other than the ISC show. And then that's gonna be it for me. I gotta be honest with you, I am burnt out. I am burnt. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go on rest mode here too. I'm burnt out. I didn't take my break. Last year I took a break, but I think I took it like last August, August 23. I don't think I've taken a break since then, and I definitely have time for it. Um, so I think I'll probably just cut a video out and just put it up there saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone for a month," and actually, I'll still put out content. I still do I still do movie reviews because you got to be able to have content on your channel so you don't lose any momentum. But as far as taking a break from Eight Questions with, yeah, it's definitely time. It's definitely time for me to take a break and recharge my battery, get hyped up again, and then I'll come back at it. What's coming up on the old show. So tomorrow night, I will be joined by special guest Alicia. We will be talking with B and Beth, also known as Social Leopard. Social Leopards will be here. And then I'm bringing on Alicia, our good friend. You might see Alicia doing her game. She does gaming. She's also hangs out a lot with Lazy Cheetah. And I know her as Snow Leopard. You guys all know her as Snow, but I've been calling her Snow Leopard because ever since I've been seeing her hang out with Lazy Cheetah, I'm going, well, there's a Lazy Cheetah and there's a Snow Leopard. So um yeah, that must be nice. It must be nice just to be able to relax. And just to, yeah, man, I need it. I need it myself. Yeah. Um, so we'll be talking, and that's funny, we'll be talking. I'm mentioning snow leopard, and social leopards, because B and Beth are actually they worry about your mental health. We're going to be tomorrow night. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about stress, holiday stress, stress that's upcoming coming in January. Next month is I've seen a lot of people stress out really hard over what's coming up. I don't blame you for that, but we'll be talking about that next tomorrow night. So Alicia will be my special co-host, and then we'll be talking to Bia and Beth tomorrow night. Okay, and then the week after that, we only got two shows during Christmas week. We had two shows during Christmas week. On the 23rd, we'll be talking with Jerry J. White III, who runs and owns the Bronson Creative. Did I say that right? Yeah, Bronson Creative. Um, I got that right. And we'll be talking with him on the 23rd. He is a filmmaker as well, a tremendous supporter of other folks. He'll be here on the 23rd. On the 27th, which is a Friday, we'll be interviewing actress uh, Julia. It's a Russian last name, so I'm gonna have to say this real carefully. It's Julia Elkahimova. God, I got that wrong. I did. Well, we'll be talking with Julia on the 27th, and then the last show of the year will be the 30th of December, and we will be talking with the cast and crew of The Devil's Vortex. Um, Gabriel Westwood, co-director Joss, and Jinx, the man behind the voice, also known as the host. All three of these folks will be here, and we'll be talking about the devil's the devil's vortex. All right. Well, we're still going on with Schlockmas, Mary Schlockmas. I'm still at it with Hey Internet, it's Eric. Um, I gotta tell you, I pushed him too close to the edge as I'm very proud of myself. I pushed him to the I pushed him to the edge. Mary Schlockmas is us picking out five movies with the Christmas theme or holiday theme that they're supposed to be really bad Christmas movies. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be really bad ones. But funny thing is, we actually pick out some pretty fun ones. They're bad, but they're fun. I mean, they're bad, like, if they're just bad, like, oh God, just no. I think we might have, I think that we could probably knock each other out. I think. But we do pick out some really fun movies. Like I got him watching Kirk Cameron. And then yesterday I got him watching a cat movie, a cat Christmas movie, Holiday Cat with cats in it. That was the best review since Wheezy Shark. I mean, he was at the edge. He was at the edge of the cliff. I think if I could have just thrown one more cat at him, he might have been screaming over the cliff. Um, but he also pushed me though. He got me with Sanestein. Um, Sanestein. I don't necessarily think it was a really bad movie, but it was badly made. It wasn't a bad movie as story wise goes, but it was just badly filmed. The film is that's what got me was it just it just didn't look very good. And and the story, yeah. I think we can all say that when we talk about Frankenstein, I think we're all to the point now where we all look at Frankenstein and realize that he is the monster, not Frankenstein's monster himself, but he himself is a true monster. And Frankenstein's monster is just an innocent victim. I mean, before we always look at Frankenstein's monster, we all run away. We always look at how they brought him back from the dead. He didn't ask for none of that shit. That was all forced upon him by the crazy doctor. And I think it's pretty cool that as we go into filmmaking, um, more and more people realize that yes, he is not Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein was not the nice guy. Uh, um, I personally, my favorite performance as Frankenstein was Sherman Hensley, not Sherman. Oh no, uh, Sherman Schuler or Schuler Hensley. There you go. I knew I'd get it right. Who played Frankenstein's monster and Van Helsing? That's like one of the most humane performances I've ever seen. Uh, about the creature, about anybody betraying the creature. Uh, okay, let me bring up my Instagram page. I just want to make sure our guest is okay. Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. No, hey Steve, how are you? How are you? Thanks for coming by last night. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to Carrie the Nine greatly. And then tonight we have Jenna Clark will be here with us. She'll be here momentarily. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be a couple of good back-to-back shows featuring music. Definitely gonna be trying to do that a little bit more as well, going into 2025. Trying to get a little more singer-songwriters to come on in and drop in because I really enjoy them quite a bit. And we had a few this year. But I want to have more. I would definitely want to have more. Speaking of musicianships and whatnot, I did get some bad news this week. Um, so I guess, man, it's been a little rough for my crowd back in San Jose. With Chris Esparza passing away, and he was a tremendously gifted, talented human being. But I heard, yeah, that last night was really fun. That was a lot of fun. I can't wait to have those guys come back. I definitely want them to come back and when they get their new record done, their new EP, definitely going to have them come back. Hopefully, have them come back together. So they could do it. Maybe they could do a song together. But that I would like but I might have to do that as a matinee show because they do have to drive to each other's houses, and it does take a little bit of time to do that. So we'll see about that. Maybe have them come out and do like maybe play maybe play out a little bit um, here on here, and so we had a we've had a little bit of a rough time with the old crowd from San Jose as we all start getting older, and so we lost another gentleman named Sean Pike. I like Sean. Sean was a really nice guy, very vivacious guy, good guitar player too. He played in a band called Cottonhead, and and he also played some other local bands as well. Very nice guy, good photographer. um, he sort of dressed it here. Oh, the doorbell has rang. Hi, Cheryl. We do. We have one. All right. So please help me welcome in singer and songwriter Jenna Clark. Boy, I was hoping I'm not.
Hi.
Hi. You got me talking about an old friend of mine who I found out I used to live in California. And I had a friend of mine out there, and I had heard that he'd been sick, but I didn't really know. It's one of those friends where you know them, but then you sort of lose track of them after a while. But you still, but you stay. You see each other like once a year or something like that, and you say hello. Um, but I just found out that he had passed away. He had cancer, and he passed away earlier this week. And I really didn't have any idea that he was so sick. And but he was a great guy, good musician too, really good musician, and a really talented photographer. But how are you? I know we're gonna keep this really short because you got a practice going on, right? You got for the
No,
band.
I rushed home from my practice. I am
Oh
here
my god!
now.
Wow. Okay. I thought you were okay because I was sitting there going like, I got to get her out of here in an hour because I don't want her to be late.
No,
Um,
you're good. I have
the
time.
one thing that you can, I'll let you know this: if you ever get in a situation like this again, and don't tell anybody in the chat, but there is something you can always do to media because that's I guess so that's what I am now, right? Media. But there's always a card you can play, and that is just tell me doing a showcase. Tell them you're doing a showcase. They won't question. They won't question you. If you would have said, I'm doing a showcase, I would have said, good luck. Show me pictures. Show me pictures. Uh, yeah, showcases, man, that's the one thing that will cause, even as a talent buyer, even someone who used to work at a club and booked it. And once in a great while, that's what would happen. A band would call up and sit there and say, I can't do a show because we're doing a showcase. And
Mhm.
you just got to throw up your hands and sit there and say, hey, you know what? I can't do anything about that. You go ahead and take care of business. We'll reschedule our date later on. Because most clubs have 3 or 4 acts. So if one act doesn't happen, you still got three over there that can carry the weight. And then you go ahead and then you cheer on your local band, the band that's playing for you. You cheer them on, and hopefully they get a deal out of it.
Right.
That's how it used to be. Um, so how was your day?
My day was good. Um, I practice with this other band I play bass for. It's called Surface Dwellers, and we got some shows this weekend. So
Now, okay, so Surface Rose, is that new for you? I mean, now you have your regular band, The Salty Truth, right?
correct. The Salty Truth is all music that I've written. Surface Dwellers is another band I joined when I moved back here to Florida. I just started playing bass this year, so I wanted to kind of get into that dynamic with the band, and
Okay.
found myself an opportunity.
Now, what kind of music are the Dwellers playing?
They're kind of psychedelic rock and roll, so it's especially fun on bass, um, making a lot louder sounds than what I usually write and play on my own.
Um, now, as far as that goes, I mean, I know a lot of musicians love to play in a lot of bands. I've seen that as well. But as far as the creativeness goes, how does that interfere? Because like right now, if I ask you, what's the most important aspect of you playing with the Dwellers, with Salty Truth, or you a solo? what's what's the number one goal for you? I mean, if someone said, bring one to the party, who are you bringing? You as a soloist, Salty Truth, or your brand new band?
I kind of spin all the plates all the time. I've always been that way. So as long as I'm playing music, I'm pretty happy. That's
Yeah.
generally the goal.
Well, I mean, I mean, that was one good thing I said. It's really one good thing about when you do play with a band versus being a soloist is it's a lot easier to get. You can get a lot of gigs as a soloist. Coffee shop,
Yes.
cafes, whatnot. There's ton of it's easier to get I think it's easier to get shows as a soloist than it is as a band.
Yes.
You just don't get paid you don't get paid very well as a soloist though. Uh, uh, well, hopefully you do, but overall, there'd be a lot of club owners and whatnot. They just see you as a soloist. They don't really see you as bringing anything to the party. But yet at the same time, you're feeling the I guess you would be feeling the slot between afternoon and night, um, or the main headliner. So I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons playing both solo and band. Um, so what is your choice? What's your primary choice? To lead a band or sing by yourself?
I really enjoy both in different settings, scenarios, and I kind of just take whatever I can get as it comes and have a good time with it.
Now, how does it affect your songwriting? I mean, do you when you write your songs, do you write them for soloists or do you write them for the band?
Any songwriting I've done so far has just been with my solo project and Salty Truth. I haven't written any songs for the Surface Dwellers, but I've worked in studio with them and continue to work on their new songs.
We have our first question. It says, "Is it true that Jenna's father played in a band?"
It is true. My dad was a dentist, and he had a band that he played with on weekends and such locally here in Central Florida. He's called 3D. So I grew up listening to him and his
Is that
band.
where you got your love of music from? Is your dad your biggest influence?
He's one of the biggest, absolutely. I would listen to him play guitar and sit in his guitar case when I was really small. And my parents were both very into music. We had a loud, nice stereo when I was little, and they had a lot of great records that I listen to this day that have inspired my writing in different ways.
Now, what music do they play that got you going? Because you play country. You're primarily country western singer. That's what you're known for. But what did you grow up listening to as a child?
It's interesting. I'm known for country western. It was like my last album, but prior to that album, I branched out into some different sounds. I've grown up listening to mostly singer-songwriters like Jackson Browne, Joni Mitchell, things that my parents listened to heavily. And then there's also my own influences of the 90s and early 2000s growing up. And all the way out to moving out to Texas and immersing myself in the country music scene out there and learning more about, the roots of music and really investing some appreciation for it.
That was how old were you when you picked up your first guitar? I mean, was something you picked up on your own, or did you did you see somebody else playing it? Family friends sitting there playing a guitar, and you learned how to you picked it up and were playing it too when you were little and just grew to love it.
I did. My dad played, my brother played guitar as well. My dad gave me my first guitar when I was 11, when Taylor guitars came out with their miniature style guitars, the baby Taylor.
Right.
Because my hands were still pretty small when I was 11, so I couldn't quite wrap around the neck of a regular size guitar. So that got me started. And I had a teacher that my brother had gone to for several years, and I studied with him from age 11 until 21 before I moved to Texas, and I'm now taking lessons from him again.
Now that's interesting. Now, that's interesting to hear that because I know a lot of people feel like, by time, like by the time they get to be in their mid early 20s, if they picked up a guitar when they were young, pretty much by the time they're in the early mid 20s, they seem to know how to play a guitar pretty well. It's just all depends what kind of music they want to play that dictates on their skill level. Do you have to? Do you feel like you have to practice in order to stay sharp, or is it something that you're trying to learn? Is there a particular style of music you're trying to learn that you keep taking lessons for?
I have a very deep love of the language of music, and so especially recently, I've gone more deeply into music theory and the mechanics of music, and I'm exploring that through my 20 plus years of guitar playing and songwriting and transferring new ideas of music to bass and investing my time in different styles of music to stay sharp because I really believe that one inspires the other in different ways.
Let's see. I want to say hi to Chadwick. Has come in. Let's see. Yeah, I think she plays both, Stephen, country and psychedelic rock, 70s. Would you call it 70s rock? What you play with the
You should just Look it up. Surface Dwellers. They're
Surface,
on
surface.
Spotify. They're on most things. I was a part of their most recent EP in studio playing bass. You won't hear any vocals or anything from me, but I'm on there playing bass on one track or two.
I love the name Surface Dwellers. That's catchy. Um, see, and this is I read that her grandmother played piano. And how, boy, Steve, you really well. Maybe I should be switching off with him. Um, Great question, Steve. Great question. I read that your grandmother played piano. How did that influence you? Yeah, I guess that would be that's actually that's a damn good question because you mentioned before how your hands were too small to grip the guitar. So, and it does seem like most kids do learn pianos, keyboards first before they learn anything else. Before they learn drums, bass, guitar, it does seem like they are learning from the keyboards. Uh, was it safe to say that did you play with your grandmother? Did she show you how to play the piano?
She did show me a thing or two growing up. She was another big inspiration behind my music. I've written a couple songs about her that I haven't played out very much, but
So now here you are. You're 11 years old. You picked up the guitar. Now the big question is, what was your first live show?
my first
First live,
performance in front of people.
the first time that you went and saw a live concert. What was it like when here you are, you're learning, you're learning it, but then you're going to see somebody live actually doing it in a big setting. So what was the band? What was the first time you saw your very first live show?
It's been so many shows at this point. I honestly couldn't tell you who it was. But I grew up with my dad had a deep love of music as well, and he would often host singer-songwriters for house shows out of our house. So that
Okay,
was another
wait,
um,
time.
that was another great exposure to the way of the songwriter for me as a young person.
Yeah, house show. That's yeah. That was just coming into play back, as far as that goes, as far as people doing that, on a regular basis. I mean, once in a while we would have someone put up do a show once in a while, but never like a house show, where there'd be like, 15, 20 people, because of the neighbors and everything else and the parking and everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
house shows got to be damn popular. They still are very
They
popular.
still are very popular.
Yeah, very popular. I think it's amazing myself. Um, I think that's a great format,
It
especially
is
for a soloist. Um, Especially for a soloist, on the road and playing house shows like that. I think it's amazing. Let's see. Van Girl Cheryl says, unfortunately, I'm still working till late. I have a birthday party. Okay, well, you know what? We'll be here and for when you come back and listen to the replay. We'll still be here chopping it up. Um, Yeah, that would yeah. Now, okay, I guess I could ask that. I was gonna ask you about what was your first concert, but I can go back there. I can go back to that one. Um, did you get your first house show in Florida or in Texas?
In Florida, at my parents'
Mhm.
house growing up, we hosted several songwriters, including Ken Gaines he used to live in Houston. He's now located out in the Pacific Northwest. But Ken Gaines was also a big influence on my music while in Texas. He was an excellent resource for me. And he's an excellent songwriter himself.
Now, how are you? How do you rate yourself as a songwriter? And how did you pick that up? How did you pick up songwriting? Is there any one particular was there, other than your friend, was there anybody else that influenced you, like female wise influenced you as a songwriter?
Yes, several influences all the time. I listen to a wide variety of music and have been offered a lot of new sounds as well. Um, so I try to keep my ears open all the time. In other words, And
Mhm.
I based my next album that hasn't been released yet. It's currently being mixed on Joni Mitchell's catalog. I listened to a lot of her stylings and alternate tunings and just kind of new phrasing and the way that she sings and plays with words and time. Um, so I brought some of that to my next sound.
This is still going to be. You still have your country western theme though, right? Still got your country theme
I
in
am
your
still
new
writing
record?
country music, absolutely, and there will definitely be another album with the Salty Truth.
What did you think of what did you think of Taylor Swift's gamble when she went from being a super established country star? I mean, like like forever, like one of the all-time greats, and then she turned around and turned on a dime and went pop country.
I
Um,
mean,
what did you think? What did you think about the something when an artist does something like that? They could spin on a dime and go in a different direction.
I think anyone's entitled to do it,
Oh,
especially in
for sure.
the world that we live in now, where we're so inundated with so many sounds and things, new things to look at. Um,
I was thinking more like, do you think it was a risk for her creatively, or do you think that she always was that pop singer that we know, and that maybe she just had that maybe she just was, putting on the country, clothes on per se, but in the heart, instead of a country girl singing, in the heart, there's really a pop star waiting to do it. Instead, because sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you have to go different routes to get to where you want to.
right.
The one I remember, the one I immediately think of right away when I think of country music is I think of Sugarland. That's the one band that jumps out at me that they came out as a country act, but Jennifer Nettles was never a country singer. She was always a rocker,
Hmm.
always. But she went ahead and she did that. She did country to get herself to there into the public eye. But then when she felt comfortable enough, she spun and became a rock star, a rocker. I mean, and I'm thinking here you're playing with you're playing with your new band, which is rock and roll.
Hmm.
Do you see yourself more as a do you see yourself more as a rocker with playing country, or country is playing a rocker? Or how? I mean,
I think I got it all in me.
yeah, that's a lot of
I
that's a
really just
lot
write
that's
what
a
comes
lot of
out. I
influences
couldn't
though.
tell you.
That's a
I just
lot of
write what comes out when it comes out.
yeah.
And
But
sometimes I spit out a whole country album at a time, like I did with that one recording that we did. And then I'm on something else. And then I circle back around to write more country music.
God, that's got to be a terrible itch, right? I mean,
I love it.
yeah. I mean, do you like when you're just relaxing and just like watching TV or looking outside or walking on the beach? I mean, how do you handle when you got a song come up in your head and you go like, well, damn, am I going to write this as a country song, or I'm going to write this as a rock song, or because you're playing solo, it's not that far of a step going from country to
Exactly.
folk.
I
It's
mostly play solo.
okay.
So it might sound different each time I play it.
But where do you get this? Where do you put the song at? Who's going to get the song first? The solo Jenna, or the rock Jenna, or the country Jenna?
I
The
mean, it
you
all
know
develops over time and in studio, depending on what instruments are present, right?
yeah.
So,
God,
I mean,
man, I don't envy you at all. That's rough. You got to have some skills to do that.
I
You
got
got
music
skill.
in my brain all the time, and
I mean, because you're sitting there, you're thinking, well, who do I give this to? Because country, a lot of our songs are just that's all people do is just sit there and they write songs. That's all they
Mhm.
do. They're not like they're not maybe they know how to play guitar a little bit, but they have a playing partner, and they say, okay, let's play a song. Let's see how this sounds in this genre, this genre, this genre, this genre. That's
Yeah,
just got to be yeah, that's got to be so damn hard because it's like I can see this song shredding, as a rocker, but at the same time, it feels like it would sell better. It would fit better on a record that's ready to go now. Oh my god, that's hard.
right?
Um, Now, I take it sometimes during the night you wake up with song lyrics racing through your head. Um, I take you have a book next to your bed that you write lyrics when you wake up.
Um, Usually voice memos are the way that I write, and I'll sit there and noodle on a guitar for a while, and
Mm.
then either the lyrics come first or the music comes first, one or the other, and it
I
just
can
kind of evolves from there.
I can see your neighbors I can see your neighbors are about 2:30 in the morning. All of a sudden, they hear the strum of a guitar, and they're going. They look at each other and going, "Yep, Jenna's at it again. Jen, Jenna's got a new song." Um, that's so cool. I am fully envious of that talent. That takes a lot of skill. Well, you know what? Now that we got you for a little bit, because I was like, I don't know if I really get her to do this or not, because I thought we were rushing per se. But I was wondering, are you in the mood to drop down and share share one of your original pieces with us?
I could do that. Any requests?
Whatever your heart tells you is right.
All right.
Yeah. We're gonna get. I'm so happy because I didn't think we were gonna get this. This is a strict bonus for me and all of us. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Play for whatever. Maybe play. Can you? Are you okay playing the first single off the new record coming out that you're recording?
Um,
You want to save
yeah,
that?
I can play one of those.
Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Tune up for you first. Yeah. This is a song called Deja Vu. It's about some recurring dreams that I had for a good spell. I've got this feeling that I've been here before. Something's calling, telling me I need more. If everything is changing, why does it feel strangely familiar? Like there's something to learn. Feelings of comfort and sleeping too long. Fading my shadow, wondering what is wrong. If everything is fine, why does it feel strangely in danger? Like I'm about to lose. And I don't know what to do to break the chains of deja vu. 'Cause I've seen it all again. I just can't seem to get a hold of the lesson. Dreams are repeating, runs washed out ahead. Flying high in the sky, way ending up in ocean. Well, I keep missing the boat, ending up all alone, just waving, walking by a frozen ocean. And I don't know what to do
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yes, come on in, Mr. Dan. The water is warm. Uh, and say hello to Miss Jenna Clark. Uh, uh, yeah, I like the style too. Very much. Very much.
Thank you.
Um, so my question to one of the things that caught my eye was the fact that you got your start in Florida, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I mean, you would think that I guess for a country singer, and I may be stereotyping myself, and I may be doing that, but I was thinking, if you wanted to play country music, I just didn't see Florida being the place to be. I thought, well, will she go to Nashville, or will she go to Texas? And you said that you moved to Texas, and you stayed there for 10 years. Um, so what led you to leave Florida to go to Texas? I mean, did you make contacts and in Texas? I mean, because it seems like you were doing pretty good in Florida. So what got you going to moving to Texas, and how hard was it for you to adjust once you got there?
I had the, young 20s syndrome of wanting to leave my hometown. Um, and I had some family out in Dallas. So I went out there for a while with the anticipation of coming back much sooner, but ended up staying out there for 11 years. I found out just how rich the music scene was, and I'm also a yoga instructor. I've been doing that ever since I got out there. So I did my training out there for teaching and got into the music scene, going to the blues jams around Deep Ellum, and started going to open mics around town because there's so many of them. And it just kind of evolved from there. Started picking up gigs and really putting down roots for a while.
Now,
But
what city were you in? I mean,
I was in Dallas.
Dallas? So did you ever go to Austin at all when you played, or
I
just strictly?
did play in Austin this past summer. I went out to Texas for a quick run through Fort Worth and Austin, and to also record a couple new tracks at Cloudland Studio in Fort Worth. So those will be in the direction of what's next for the Salty Truth. So you're the
Now,
first to hear it.
now the Salty Truth. Did you form that? Did you form the band yourself? And was that is that your is it Salty
Yeah,
Truth?
and because I tend to dabble in different genres and things, it's kind of a place to put my country sound. And I always played with the same people, and um, kind of concentrated on songs, writing songs that I would work into my regular performing set through various bars and gigs like that. And then I have more personal songs that I've been recording, like the one I just played, that I tend to play when I'm solo.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going back to the songwriting style. I mean, you can write different songs for different styles. For soloists, or for country or rock, or it's always going to be a little bit different. I mean, most people have a hard time doing juggling two, but you juggling three, if not four. That's like I said. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to do that and to do it well. Um, so you put together the band, the Salty Truth. That's a good name for a band too. That's a good
Thank
name
you.
for a band. Um, so what is now I guess I'll ask you this. Now while you're in Texas, you came back to Florida. So I guess to me, it's like because I think when I think of country music, the two places I think of more than anything else to where a country singer or a band wants to go to is or Texas or Tennessee. Um, was there any reason? Did you have any goals or any desire to try Tennessee after you went to Texas?
Um, to be honest, not really. Florida was calling me. I, had a deep desire to return to my roots and be closer to family and um, really invest more time in my relationships and writing even more music. I've got 11 tracks that are not released yet, so I'm not really sure what will happen next or where I'll end up. I'll probably end up back in Texas here and there for shows and things like that. But otherwise, I try to keep, you know, my tours relatively close to home for now. I'm not signed. I don't have a team.
Well, yeah. I mean, we just talked with that yesterday with the band we had on yesterday. Carry the Nine, and we're talking about promotion. How it's so different. It's so different than back. Because we're salty. We're older.
Right.
we're,
And
we're, we're,
I mean,
we're
honestly, all I hear about lately is like how difficult it is to tour right now on a large scale, and it
yeah.
makes sense because it's hard enough just to make a life in a
Um,
smaller circuit.
I was gonna say, what's the circuit like for down there in Florida? To me, that's what really surprised me was like, like
I'm
she's
still
going
in the
to,
middle of figuring it out, to be honest
yeah.
with you. I've been
So,
gone a long time, and Florida has grown up a lot, and there's all kinds of music here. I live technically in the horse capital of the world, so country music is present here. Um, we have our own little pockets.
I was just gonna say, it just seems to me like there'd be a lot more places to play in Texas. Like a lot more clubs, and I'm thinking myself, I'm just really, I'm trying to think of what kind of how much music, how many clubs are there in Florida. Even though it's in the deep South and it's a hotbed of country music, but it's not the first place you think of when you think of actually going down there and playing. Like I'm going to move to Florida and become and tour down there or make a living down there playing the nightclub circuit. You really don't get that reputation. You don't ever feel that. There's been a few people who have come out of there, but they've come out. I don't know very many people
Mhm.
have left Florida, as far for their musical journey and have decided to come back to it. And so that was my question. It's like, was it there? Was it, there must have been something there. There must have been a really good. It must be. You must have found some really good clubs to play at, and who support you, which would make anybody go back. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But it just happens so rare. You don't really see that. Most of the time when
Yeah.
people go to Texas or Tennessee, they stay there. That's where they're gonna, as far as their musical career goes, they're gonna stay where the music's hot, where it's popular. It's interesting. Let me catch up with the chat here. Hey, Stephen Chang, how are you? It's okay. We're glad you're here now. Our friend John says he wants to get back into music. He's been buying equipment, so we'll be having Doomsday Crip rocking out pretty soon. Being a musician, especially now, is difficult. It is. It really is, and it doesn't have to be. That's the damn thing about it is it doesn't have to be if these companies like Spotify and SoundCloud and what have you, if they just quit being so greedy and pay the artists what they're worth, uh, everybody can have a part of the cookie. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Um, you mentioned the 11 tracks that you have now. Back in the old days, it would be like, I got 11 tracks, I got to put them on a record and kick them out. It seems like now it's like you don't necessarily have to do that. Now you could actually go ahead and release a record a month, single a month, or every other month, on Spotify. And you got constant content coming out. People are hearing Jenna Clark's name over and over and over. And like, that's exactly what drew me to you for this interview, because I kept on seeing your ad pop through.
Wild.
Yep. So I'm just going there going like, okay, all right, let me go listen to it. So I went over to Spotify, popped it in there, going like, I came back and going like, how would you like to come talk to us? Because he
Well,
kept
that's
on,
excellent.
yeah. So promotion does work. It does work. It's just and so is song placement, and that also works. Um, Chadwick, if you're still here, song placement. He's a film director. So so let's go back to Florida. Let's go back to Florida. So or let's go back to Texas because I want to know how was it solely your decision to move back to Florida, or was there anything there? Was there anybody there offering you like, hey, if you come back, I'll produce a record for you, or if you come back, I got, I
Really?
got,
Um, Honestly, I got tired of the grind in Dallas.
you know,
I was spending long hours in traffic and, a lot of spinning my wheels and not getting very far because it's very, um,
is it
there is a lot of music there. There is a lot of music there all the time. Um,
no doubt,
and it's
no doubt.
amazing. It's amazing. It truly is, especially in North Texas. I was very, very honored to be a part of it and especially have the reception that I did. I'm
Yeah.
still on the radio in Dallas County. It's amazing. Um,
What was it like when you first heard yourself on the radio?
that was a big day. That was a very big win for me. 'Cause, you know the process. I'm sure recording is expensive. It takes a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, and to hear
You
it
know,
recognized is pretty special.
I was actually soapboxing a little bit about that. How it seems, like I know that the tech for recording is a lot. It's very high. It's great tech, digital tech, whatnot. And it seems to me like like it should be actually lower now to record a record than it was say in the 90s. The price should be cheaper now. Um, if you're a studio and you go ahead and you sell off of all your old equipment, you get the new equipment out. Let's say you pay $10,000 for that or $20,000 for that.
Hmm.
There's two ways to look at it. There's one you can sit there and say, "Yeah, I got to pay this off." Before I was charging $150 per hour to record. I'm going to jump it up to 225. Because I got to get paid. I got this new you get this new studio to pay for. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Me personally, I'm going like, you know what? Yes, you do got to pay for that. I agree. But I think when you turn around and you raise the price up, what happens is instead of having like 20 people come up there looking to use your services, you're only going to get 10 or you're going to get 8 because the rest of them can't afford your raise. So to me, it's like it's reverse psychology. It's like I'm going to charge 150. So while the other guy's down there charging 75 more dollars, I'm going to charge $75 less and get more people in. All those people that were down there that wanted to record with him and then they can't because he's too expensive, because he's got all this high tech gear. I'm going to go down to the other guy.
I was very
Because
lucky to have friends like that have done my last few projects. That's mostly the route that I've gone. Um, is hiring friends. I love
yeah,
to record so that I can pay my friends, even if it means I'm working 4 jobs for a little bit to make it all happen.
right. I mean, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like sometimes when people they get new equipment or they get the new technique or what mostly equipment. I just feel like instead of like sitting there and sharing the wealth, so to speak, like, hey, man, if I lower my prices and get Jenna Clark in here to record in my studio, I could put her name on the freaking wall there saying Jenna Clark records here
That's
because
right.
my
That's
because my
that's what I'm
studio.
saying. I've been so
Yeah,
lucky in that my producers were like that.
instead of
They
some instead
helped me
of
out, and
right. And then you got the other guy sitting know there. We had a guy named Bart Thurber back in San Jose. Bart was Godhead. Everybody wanted Bart Thurber. Everybody wanted him. Do you know? I'm not even kidding you. Do you know? I heard that guy take for an hour's worth of work for a band, a small punk band. They were getting ready to do a 3-song EP, and they were on fumes as far as finances go. Do you know what he took from them? He took them. He took 3 cases of soup to record them. He says, "Give me 3 cases," because he would be in his studio, and that's what he would eat between the bands. He says, "You guys
Amazing.
give me 3 cases of a Campbell's soup, tomato soup, and I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll record this track for you." Now, who does that today, right? Oh,
You might be
um,
surprised. I bet they're out there.
let's see. Let's see. John says here, easy access compared to when kids buying kids buying records, tapes, CDs. Not the same with technology. No, so business aspect needs to adjust to protect the artist. Yeah, I'd like to see some artists protected. Um, I mean, it really is. I mean, it's funny. It's like you see all these big old artists going out on tour, and you hear about all these different festivals and what have you. And we're talking about this yesterday as well. Like you go to a concert these days, and the ticket's like $300. Well, $300 because the artists are trying to get paid. They
Mhm.
can't make the money like they used to. Um, so, where is your favorite place to play in Florida as far as live venues go? Like, what are some of the live venues, the clubs that you play at? Do you like playing indoors more than you do outdoors? What do you think lends best to your sound? Outdoors, open air, or inside in a nightclub or
I
arena?
love to be outside. Um, I love to play outside. I've spent years doing it in the hot Texas sun to here in Florida in the hot Florida sun. And I really enjoy music in open air and what it seems to do to people too.
Yeah, I guess it seemed to be a lot more relaxed, doesn't it?
Hmm. Yeah.
It does. Um, well, I tell you what, if you don't mind, if we can, if you feel like it, would you like to drop another song?
Sure. Let's do
All
it.
right. Let's do it. We're going to drop another song here, and then I will go ahead with the questions. If you guys have questions, by all means, drop them in the comment section while Jenna sings her new song. Uh,
Um, you were talking about your friend when we got on here, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry for your loss. It reminded me of the song I wrote called Good Friends, which is just kind of a homage to people that are here and then go, whether through life or otherwise.
he was a good guitarist, fine guitarist.
Thank you. Yeah. I once saw you in the light, you're someone I didn't know. I could have sworn that I'd met you before. Something familiar in the way that you said hello. I guess sometimes with some people you just know they've got a like mind, just like yours. They strike the right kind of some kind of chord. In any case, love remains. Well, that's what good friends are for. You could call me up early, you could call me up late. If you needed somebody, I'd be on my way. Some things in life that can't be explained, like roles reversed or returned. I know you do the same. So many things, they come and they go. I guess sometimes with some people, you just know they've got a like mine, just like yours. They strike the right kind of some kind of chord. In any case, love remains. That's what good friends are for. Looking back, I remember laughing more than anything, spending time to unwind from reality. 'Cause it's the people in your life that make it worth living. New and old, come and gone, gold and silver. No matter how time passes or how we grow, I guess sometimes with some people, you just know they've got a like mind, just like yours. They're at the right time, want to run their course. In any case, love remains. Well, that's what good friends are for.
Very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, that's fantastic. I could definitely see why the buyers are calling you to come out and play. I mean, I'm sure your band is very very popular. Um, yeah, that's I could definitely see people coming to see you at a show. You definitely got pipes.
Thank
Uh,
you.
um, and everybody's saying great job, very strong, clapping hands. John mentions loves it, good flow, great flow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I tell you guys, I always bring you the talent here on Eight Questions with. There's no doubt about that. If you guys ever, because I always tell people here, and always, I think some of them crack me. I think I crack half of them out when I tell them that. I have like a golden ear. It's like I can pick out people who can sing, and I can. I've always had it. I don't know where I got it, but I had it. I've seen some great bands that before they were anything, and it's like, yeah, I remember I'm hearing that sound, and it's just like it's gonna go somewhere. I could definitely see that for you. I don't, I definitely can. I definitely think Texas is Texas or Tennessee. I would have to explore Florida. I'm so curious right now with Florida right now, going like, is this what they're putting out now? Because they never used to. The talent level here never used to be like quite like that as far as country music goes. But if that's what they're doing now, I we need to go back there and take another look at these guys because there's a lot of talent there. Um, I guess I guess the big thing is too, like you mentioned before about the grind. It is a grind, isn't it? I mean, it's hard. How hard is it for you to book yourself? Do you find it hard to, because most of the talent buyers, they're male. Shouldn't
Mhm.
be that way. Because I'll be honest with you, the best talent buyers, the best bookers at clubs, I'm telling you right here, right now, and you're hearing it from me, they're always women.
Mhm.
Oh. Women are the best bookers. Men are not. Men are great for security. They're great for loadouts. They're great for a green room. But when it comes down to putting a bill together and finding the talent to go in the club, women have it all. They have it. Um, what's it like to deal with the clubs in Florida? Is it a pleasant experience? Do you get treated fairly? Is there any particular venues you like to play more than others?
Yeah. So I mentioned that I kind of take it all as it comes. That includes a lot of different gigs. So I do have my, 3 hour cover gigs for money a lot of the times to supplement,
Sure,
the smaller clubs that I want to go play on my own time that may be like a door deal or, percentage of bar sales or something like that. So to offset things like that, I'll go and play covers at your
sure.
everyday place.
Nothing wrong with that. No, nothing. No, it's weird how I say that. I say there's nothing wrong with that, because you're right, because you got to eat, right? You got to eat. Um, I guess the thing that gets me though is like I don't mind someone doing playing for tips or whatnot. I get that. I guess what really gets in my craw a little bit though are the ones that they call the tribute bands now, and they tour underneath somebody else's name, like like they I don't know, Steel Panther, is that one of those guys' names, or Death Metals of Eagle. They tour underneath somebody else's name. Like this is a Ozzy Osbourne cover band, and they actually
Right.
get out there and they tour on that part. I got to be honest with you, Jenna. I have a problem with. I don't like it at all because
I
it's like,
understand.
huh?
I understand.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I think it's like, wow, if you're talented enough to play your damn guitar, then you're talented enough to write your own damn songs, right? I don't. You don't need to take somebody else's material and tour on it. So that's just me. Now, if you want to busk, or you want to play a cafe or a coffee shop or a bar, no harm there. Yeah, there's no harm there. Everybody wins. People get a really pretty voice. They get so familiar songs. You get paid pretty well. Uh,
Hmm.
there's no problem with that. But could you imagine, sadly enough, the salty truth and try to tour the country and doing nothing but Patsy Cline covers for the whole tour?
No,
Yeah.
no, I could not. Personally, I could not. I'm
Did,
too
did,
full of my own songs.
yeah. What's it like? Do you talk to other musicians in Florida? I mean, do you guys ever, if you go to clubs and you watch somebody else play, do you guys ever just get together outside of clubs and talk music and talk business, like promotion or merch, or you know good clubs that treat you fair, give you a good price, pay you fairly? Is there like a music community in your area that you guys get together and talk, or maybe a social media page that you guys can swap stories and notes on?
Yeah, there are surprisingly some cool like social media groups for the local area where we swap gigs and things like that. Or I get the scoop of something new opening up, or somebody needs a sub for a gig or things like that. So it is available in there. It's a pretty tight knit community, just in that there's so many less of us.
Is there a lot of people that dropped off as you?
Uh, I
Are
mean, just
people?
compared to Texas, there's so many less musicians where I am now than where I was for the last decade. So it's a different experience altogether, in that they're easier to find somehow.
Okay.
It's easier to seek out who's doing what and keeping track of it a little better. So it is easier to get to other people's shows, and be in the know of who's doing what, because there's so much less going on.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get it.
And then the flip side of that is people actually go to these shows. Like you'll see the same people at shows, whereas in a bigger city, you won't, even if it's a local person or this, that, and the other.
That's cool though. That's
Yeah, I love
that's
it.
good. It's always
I
good to see
absolutely love
familiar
it.
faces. It always is good to see familiar faces. Um,
Absolutely.
and I see that you also work your social media pretty well too. I mean, you have quite a few people on Instagram, and you do work it. You do promote yourself. Has that been paying off for you? Has that worked with you as far as that goes? I mean, is that the
Um,
what is your way of promoting yourself and your sound? I mean, what works best for you?
Social media is it for me, and that is it's free. It's free promotion. So I've used it the most, and it has brought me opportunities. It's connected me with new musicians and people to know. So it's been very useful for a lot of different aspects of the industry.
And I want to touch bases with you. I forgot to do this earlier, but I definitely want to touch base with you on this. I mentioned earlier about your writing and how when you wake up and you write something down and you sit there, you take notes or in the recorder or what have you. But what is it like with you as far let's or better yet, let's do this. It's a day of the show. Okay, so this is your day. You're going to do a concert with Salty Truth. So what goes through your mind? What goes through Jenna? What's your routine like getting ready for a concert the day of show? Do you have any routines? Do you do anything differently? Do you do certain things all the time? What's it like for you that you play with your band?
I would say the biggest difference is just, I maintain all of the logistics and making sure that everyone has all the information that they need and when it's all understood that where we need to be when, and you know the petty details. I take care of that part, and then um, I think a little bit on what am I going to wear if it's a big show, and
Right.
then you
That's
know
important. It's important.
yeah,
You
it
know
is
what?
important. It really is.
It really is important, isn't it? Uh, I don't think people really think about it, because most of the punk rock bands, they get out there and if you look at them at first look, right? See them come on in there with torn t-shirts and shoes, and they look like they just got ran down the road for 30 miles and then got told to play. But you know what? It's sort of like their costume as well. Like when you do play country, the woman's always expected to wear a dress.
Right.
A dress. It's and it doesn't matter who you are. You're expected to play a dress. I mean, yes, you could go out there and you could play in jeans, but the fans don't really particularly care for that as far as live music go. And once in a while you'll hear about it. Um, but you do have to dress a certain way to match your sound. Um, I don't know if I agree with that or not. I mean, it's like, do you have to dress like that? Can you be a little bit more, especially for women? It seemed to be held a little bit more of a higher standard. Like I said, a guy could come out there looking like he just got tossed 30 miles down the road, and you're going, that's what you're coming out there. That's what you're going to be entertaining me looking like. I'm not really, because I want to be entertained. I don't want to be sitting there. I don't want to be distracted either, right? Because fans
Mhm.
be sitting there and I mean, I know a lot of the pop people. They have all these different costume changes and whatnot, but I always felt like the more you feel like you need to go out there and change your dress or change your clothes or what have you. I always feel like it's like hiding. You're hiding something because you're eating away minutes on stage that you could be used singing. But no, you're backstage getting swapping out a cowboy shirt for a new hat or whatnot. It's a little bit like they're taking a little bit away from you. Instead of, I want to hear songs. I don't want to see it. I didn't pay to see a wardrobe change. Um, but you get there. Now, do you have friends that help you pick out what you wear, or you pretty much know what you're gonna do?
Um, and pretty solo for most parts of the equations, and but I have
Magic,
help occasionally, and yeah, I just make sure that I'm playing songs that feel authentic in the moment to me, especially on any
um,
given show, and I always make sure to be somewhat prepared. I make sure I'm hydrated and well fed.
right, right. Magic Smith just walked through the door and said hello.
Hello,
Uh, do you know Magic?
hello.
Oh, okay. Good, good. Hi, Magic. How are you? Glad you're here. So you get on the you get so now you try to eat. What do you have a special diet before you go on stage? Or is there anything in particular you do different, like in prepping? Like what do you drink? Do you do honey before you sing or gargle your voice? How do you protect your vocals? Especially now that you're in, two bands and a soloist. How do you protect your voice?
I've had a few lessons on how to care for my voice with vocal warm ups and things like that. So if I know that I will be at a show where I need it, then I will do them. Um, I also, again, make sure I'm hydrated, well fed, and I'll have like a green juice or something. Make sure I get my minerals and nutrients in there. Because usually, if I've got those things lined up, then I sound and feel better. And the performance usually feels more authentic to me, and I usually get a better response from the audience if I kind of take care of myself.
No, yeah, lied. Yeah, I can see that. Now, I guess the last question I will ask. This is the one question I was going to ask, but I'll come back to it now. But um, what's it like for you, as far as your songwriting go? I mean, how do you approach that? Do you write? Do you go outside to write? Like, if you go to a coffee shop, do you write? Do you write at home by yourself? Do you collaborate with anybody? Um, what's it like for you as a songwriter?
For me, it comes in waves, and I just ride whatever comes. Sometimes I will sit down and spit out an entire song in 30 seconds. It's just, music, lyrics, everything's there, and I can practically see the words in front of me. Sometimes songs take longer. Um, like if I'm writing a more complicated melody, then I'll spend some time, working it out.
Yeah,
But it really just depends because it comes fragmented or just whole, depending on situation and uh,
right.
any given influence at any given point. Like with the um, one of the songs that comes to mind that I spit out entirety is "I Can't Help That I Loved Him" on that country album. It was
Do
one of
you
the
find
songs that I heard the music, I could see the words. It was written.
Is it more easier to write country music than it is pop music or
I
rock
think it
music?
is because country music is so formulaic, and I've now spent so much time
No
observing
doubt.
song structure and kind of the science behind what we listen to.
I like country music. I do. I
I
mean,
do too.
I appreciate a good voice, but Jesus, you hit it right on the button though. It is so formulaic. It is. It takes a challenge to get a good country song on a record. It's a challenge to get a good one that doesn't rhyme girl, world, and twirl all in one. Oh my! I actually sat there and I listened to a Tim McGraw record. I couldn't make it out. I could not finish the record. The song lyrics were so simple and it was so non-challenging and it was just like, okay, so he's got an okay voice, but the lyrics that he's singing are just garbage.
I
There's
agree.
no there's no storytelling. I mean, you go back to the 70s, back to Stephen mentioned Waylon Jennings and
Hmm.
and man, I'll mention Dave Alvin. That's my boy right there. Those
Yeah.
guys can tell stories. Johnny Cash could tell a story. Today's country music is all about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes on the radio, and it's like you can't write a good country song in 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes. You just can't do it. You might get a single or two, but as far as our albums go, you just can't do it. I mean, not.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, okay,
But
yeah, you could write.
I'm mostly in agreement in that. Yeah, there's a lot of garbage out there.
It just it's a shame too. I'll tell you who I really appreciate as a songwriter. It's who we mentioned earlier before, and that was Taylor Swift. I mean, you really looked out at her lyrics. Her songs they're long songs. They're long. They're songs that I think you know 4 to 6 minutes, 7 minutes to sing. That's an eternity for a songwriter. For a singer songwriter, that's a lot. And all her songs are like that. And it's just like and it's interesting that she's like that's a that's a skilled writer. Dave Alvin's the same way. You yourself. I mean, your songs that you're saying here tonight, they're not Tim McGraw class. They're good songs. They're very good songs, and they tell a story. And so as someone who appreciates that, I appreciate your vocals and your lyrics.
Thank you.
All right, our bell has tinged, and I might be able to. I'll ask. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but I'll ask. Would you feel like playing us out with one more song, or are you okay?
I'd love to. Sure. Let me tune for you first.
Or you could just leave it untuned and go punk rock style.
Yeah. This is another one from the new album. It's called "You Can't Outrun You." Well, I guess there's some things you just don't get when you're busy growing, being a kid. But at 31, I'm not sure if that still fits. I've seen trouble that I left behind. I got lucky, never dead no time. So where I realized prison was mine. Then I found your letter, or so it seems, like it does at the right time. It found me. And all it says is no matter what you do or where you go, well, you can't outrun you. Picked up another journal at the store. Promised myself pages of words. I put it on the shelf along with the others. Months of dust collected in the dark. Wrapped a bottle around my heart. It's funny how feeling nothing feels worse. You know just why. that light. 'Cause you saw through my excuse, bottled up and ran off with my truth. Then I found your letter, or so it seems, like it does at the right time. It found me. All it says is no matter what you do or where you go, well, you can't outrun me. No, you can't outrun me. No, you can't outrun me.
Nice. Very, very nice. I
Thank
want to
you.
thank you very much for coming out and hanging out with us, Jenna. I'm so glad it worked out. I was totally prepared to let you go after an hour to do what you need to do with the band. I never want to come in front of anybody's livelihood. So I'm glad it worked out and we were able to make this happen. I can't wait for the new record to come out, and you'll be dropping it next year, right?
Yeah.
2025. And
Sometime.
yeah, and we hope that when it comes out, let us know when it does, and we'll have you come out and hang out with us, and we'll talk about it again.
That sounds
Um,
great.
I want to thank you to the chat for coming out and hanging out. Thank you so much, Steve, and all the Steves. I had a lot of Steves in here today. I want to thank all the Steves that came out tonight in Magic and Doomsday Crypt. Mr. Dan and Howard, thank you all for coming out and supporting us. Tomorrow night, I'll be joined by B and Beth from Social Leopards. Social Leopards. These are two young ladies that are into helping people dealing with rough patches in their lives, and we'll be talking mental health. We'll be talking about how important cats are to that mental health. And I'll be joined by my own special co-host, Alicia, also known as Snow. Snow from hanging out with, she's an artist and a gamer, and she'll be hanging out with us tomorrow night. Um, and we're going to have a good time. It's going to be an interesting type of show. They're pretty different for us, but we can't wait to sink our teeth into it. And we'll be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Stay right where you're at, Jennifer, 1 minute. And to the chat, I'm going to let you guys go now, and we will talk at you guys soon tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Peace. Oh, yeah, we'll do that. I've always got to unplug my charger before I let us go.